Okay, everyone, I am back. Welcome to another edition of this Chess.com sub Saturday um, new tradition, I guess. We have some very nice moderators in the chat who is gonna organize the queue for today's event. So if you would like to play and you are a subscriber to the chess channel, you may go ahead and chat and write your username so that the moderators can put you in the queue. I'll take hammer on, I don't fear him, says Aquila. That is a bold statement, especially considering the amount of times I have beaten Aquila in the past. Hammer's coming back. Yeah, that is for sure right, Light Rider and M-Depth. We will be doing some 5-minute games. That is the concept today. And we will be trying to be instructive with the commentary. So I will acknowledge that on my own streams, I don't really strive for instructive content, but I'll try to point out the main strategic features today. And before we do that, I want to just mention my philosophy on the openings. That you cannot go wrong if you put your pawns in the middle, if you get your pieces out and your king to safety. Those three things are the main ingredients of any good opening. And I will be shaming anyone who does not adhere to these principles. When does it start? Asks Darius. We're starting with the games as soon as possible. I'm just making sure someone's around to organize the queue. I was told that I would only have to concentrate on playing my games, and that's bad news for you people, because that means I'm gonna find all the good moves. I'm scared, says Billy. Well, you don't have to be scared. As long as you put your pawns in the middle of the board, as long as you get your pieces out and your king to safety, there's nothing to be scared about. There would be no reason for me to call you out. I can be a scary dude at times, Jada. I try to appear more scary than I really am. And sometimes I succeed. Are you bashing the bomb cloud? It has been proven to be the greatest opening, says Magician. Well, you're gonna have to do some magic if you want to beat me with an opening where you move your king on move number 2. And also you're gonna get called out. That was some amazing play going on the display board with it looks as if Black almost managed to save himself in this endgame. We all know you're a softie at heart. Yeah, that's true, but I try to be a bit more. White is bringing the hurt. Yeah, but White was killing it this game. At this stage, White was 2 pawns up, and he had the passed pawn supported by the rook. So at this stage, it looked as if White could win in like 7 different ways. But I was really impressed with how Black almost managed to defend this. He opened up the board for his bishop and tried to get as many pawns off the board as possible. So this is actually a very useful trick that when you're in a bad situation in an endgame trying to save it, the more pawns you can remove off the board, the greater the drawing chances. Because situations like rook and bishop against rook is a draw when there's no pawns left. So if you are 2 pawns, oh, we have a new game starting. Oof, breaking principles here. I don't want anyone to be watching this stuff. Let's go in analysis mode. Pawn in the center. Forget what you just saw from Polish Fighter. Do not play your knight out on the edge. This is not educational content whatsoever. We're watching some the top Blitz games being played on the Chess.com server right now, GC. So, and I am, for your own good, I am censoring what just happened. Because I want you guys to put your pawns in the middle. I don't want you putting your knights out on the corner of the board. Hammer's scared of superior Polish openings. No, I just want you guys, I want to help you guys get better at chess. And I don't want you to have bad influences on that. And I feel like if you watched Polish fighter, who is one of the best players in the world, Jan Krzysztof Duda, he finished second at the World Blitz Championship just a couple of months ago. If you see him moving his knight to the edge of the board on the first move, and you think, wow, this is how the best players in the world do it, then I fear that you're gonna lose your games. Okay, we have T in the house, and T is explaining how we're gonna do it today. There is a link in chat you can click, which will enable you to challenge me to a game. And then you also need to tag Zizuma Sasamti. We just use T for short. When you challenge with your Chess.com username. So that you can be added to the queue. So you challenge me on the server, but it's the moderators who's gonna tell me whose challenge I'm accepting next. Okay, so we have a queue going. Aquila, J. Brooks, Danny Echo. It feels like T is in charge of this. So I'm gonna start the first game. We get the white pieces against Aquila. And we're gonna play... okay, so he plays f5. Very aggressive move. I guess I have been telling people today to put their pawns in the center. But this Dutch opening doesn't really allow for that kind of thing. It would be fun to play g4. But I think we're trying to keep it instructional. So we're just going to take control over squares in the middle. And then we're going to get the king to safety. Look at this. We're going to castle our king real early. And now Aquila. So you see that black having the disadvantage of not starting the game. He's kind of trying to protect the same squares I'm protecting. And as a trying to take control of the middle of the board, black's idea in this opening is basically try to go for e5. Try to make that thing happen. So the question is, what are we going to do about that plan? And honestly, the Dutch is one of my worst openings. I have some bad memories. I once lost to Gadakamski in the Chess World Cup when he played the Dutch against me. So I get a little bit scared every time someone plays it against me. Okay, I think we're going to try to open up and go e4. Okay, queen e8. So the idea of this move is trying to help playing e5. And I'm just going to go e4. Because then I want to open up the e-file so that I'm pointing down towards black's queen. Light Rider is extracting some information from my commentary. Now everyone knows what to do against Hammer and his d4. Yeah. But wouldn't you feel bad using my own words against me? Wouldn't you rather try to win with your own openings? I don't know. Light Rider, let me tell you that because I have some bad experiences in the Dutch, I have taken measures to try and improve my openings there. So Aquila did go pawn to e5, but at this point it may have been a bit too rash because the rook is on a very nice file pointing down towards black's queen, and he's actually now in some trouble because if he takes back this pawn, can we show analysis board? I guess we cannot. If he takes back, then I'm going to take the pawn on f5. And I'm actually going to just threaten on e5. So Aquila is currently in danger of losing a pawn, having been too aggressive with his play. So he tries taking on e4. But once again, I'm opening up for the rook so that it exerts pressure down towards black's queen. That is very kind of you to say, Bardamu. Okay, so Aquila gets into a bit of a desperate situation mode. He took a knight off us, so we're going to have to take that one back. And the thing now is that look at these squares close to the black king. We're going to try to exploit the fact that black has relinquished his control of the dark squares. I kind of want to go here, but then the knight can come and capture. I would really like to remove this knight so that I can get my rook into play. That would be my plan. It's not so easy. Okay, we're gonna go here. I'm not really sure why I did that. But the thing is that if he takes this pawn, then I take back and I win. But if he had gone queen e6, I don't really know what I would have done. But now I'm gonna win with his knight and rook trapped on the same diagonal. So, yeah, big trouble coming up. He kind of has to go with his rook either there or there to protect the knight. But look at my development. Check out what has gone wrong for black in this opening. He's playing without his rook, without his knight, without his bishop. He's basically losing this game because his pieces are not participating. And that's always a depressing way to go down. Although actually knight f7, could he survive there? I might have some tactics. Knight f7, knight f7. Rook takes here. Knight h6. We might have some kind of puzzle rush checkmate in the endgame. Although I haven't really calculated it out. Check. King up. I have to take this one. Take. Check. Okay, he's going for it. This is going to be interesting. This might be a very sweet checkmate. Or at least that's what I'm hoping. So we're going to give a check here, an in-between move, so that his king has to spend some time getting this guy back. And then we're going to give this check. Yeah, we're going to give this check. And now we're so close to checkmating this king. Although the king is trying to escape on this f6 square. So we're going to play bishop g7. Prevent that king from stepping back. And now it's very close to being some kind of checkmate here. This king is not having a good time. Yes, f4, very good move. He needed to get the bishop out and try to protect himself that way. And now we're going to go... I want to finish this checkmate in the most accurate way. I think we're going to go rook e1. Because we're going to try to... What happened when he moved the pawn up was that we have the potential now of giving a check along this this rank. So we're going to try to get the rook involved. And now he no longer can escape here with his king. So do I want to go h4 or do I want to go with the bishop first? I think first we're going to go with the bishop. Yes, go with the bishop. Take control over further two squares. So the bishops are doing now a great job of taking away squares for the black king. And the black king is very limited in its ability to move. We're ready to go h4 checkmate on the next move. And we get all the pieces working together. And we get the checkmate in the end. Get the checkmate right there. Great win. You saw your chance and you took it, Chess.com tells me. So there we get the end game checkmate. The knight and rook unable to get into play. So that's what happens when you don't fully develop your pieces. So the Dutch opening is very aggressive, but one of the disadvantages is that you spend a lot of time moving your pawns in the opening and not a lot of time getting your pieces out. And this game is a good illustration of what can happen if your opponent pounces and never really gives you enough time to make sure your pieces get into the game. That's very beautiful, says Billy and Bartamu. Good game, says Joe. Thank you. Also, Brick Bowler. Nice mate, says Bloby. Okay, next up, let me check the queue. Jay Brooks. Jay Brooks is next up. And this time I get the black pieces. So it's going to be a slightly more difficult. So lately I have been inspired by Mr. Carlsen to play the Sveshnikov. But I suddenly remember that the Sveshnikov breaks every opening principle there is. So we're going to stay away from the Sveshnikov after all. And we're going to try to play some classical openings instead. In J. Brooks, bringing the King's Gambit. That is an opening you don't see at the top level very often. Although Magnus Carlsen has played it occasionally. What is my King's Gambit repertoire? I guess we're just gonna play this. We're gonna stick with some principles. Okay, so I gave away a pawn, but it's fine because he also gave away a pawn. And now I'm just trying to get my pieces out quickly. I've opened up for both my bishops. I'm ready to get my king into safety. I'm predicting that I capture this pawn pretty soon. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take it at this moment. And so even though he played a very aggressive opening, I have succeeded in getting my pieces out pretty quickly. And actually now he has some trouble even regaining his pawn. So normally kind of I give a pawn, you give a pawn, and we're about equally far. But now I'm actually going to use my bishop to try and protect this pawn and claim that it's going to give me an advantage. The good thing about White's position is that he has an extra pawn in the center. So this pawn is doing a very good job, and also my queen is a bit exposed. So I'm a bit concerned about moves like this, putting pressure on the queen. However, I think White should have gone out with his bishop first. Because now I feel like I can give a check. Maybe not. Yeah, okay. I'm going to give a check. So if you had gone with the bishop first, then you would have prevented this check. And then you also would have gotten your king into safety before starting the aggression towards my queen. Okay, bishop in between. That's interesting. I would actually have advised moving the king there. Because if you move the king, you can, on the next move, put pressure on my queen. Whereas now your bishop is pinned. But on the other hand, now you get to castle. So maybe your move is better. Okay, so I'm slightly concerned about the bishop coming here and attacking my queen once again. That's the problem with bringing your queen out early, is that your opponent very often gets to attack your queen and improve the position of the pieces in the process. So I'm going to go bishop f5 to take control over this square. And make sure that you're not able to kick my queen around. I'm also considering going queen c2, just exchanging queens, thinking that it would be nice for me having this exposed queen. It would be nice to make an exchange. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to take and then play g5 in the King's Gambit. Yeah, that's a way of doing it. Oh, we cannot do analysis. Okay, knight g5. Threaten my queen. I'm going to move the queen back, but also putting in a threat against the knight. I'm pretty very wary of c5, which would trap my bishop. But for the moment, it's fine because I'm attacking the white knight. Yeah, okay, so c5 anyhow. Probably, honestly, that's probably, yeah, I think it's the best move. Because at least you get a bishop. And if you've been watching my streams, you know that I appreciate the bishops. You need those guys in your life. And we're gonna have to take this pawn before it does any more damage. And actually, white is in a position now with this move, bishop takes d6. He's actually gonna win back the pawn that I captured in the opening. Because if I now take this bishop, then he's going to take my bishop. However, if I do take the bishop, I'm going to get rid of his very strong dark squared bishop. So I'm going to take it anyway, and then I'm going to go knight c6. And I'm going to claim that I have excellent prospects of creating pressure against this pawn in the middle. So this d pawn is a passed pawn, which means that it can move over to the other side without ever being interrupted by one of the black pawns trying to capture it on its route forward. However, it's also an isolated pawn. It's a pawn that cannot be protected by any of the other white pawns. As such, this is a big attacking target for me. So I'm feeling pretty confident about being able to get this pawn without any repercussions. Another thing to notice is that there's a diagonal here against white's king. So there could be situations in which white is not doing that well because he has less pawns protecting his king. But at the moment, we have a very open board. And when by open board, I mean that there's not a lot of pawns in play. And when we have such situations, then it's going to be the bishops are very powerful. So what I'm going to do now, it's a bit counterintuitive. But I think if I take this pawn, I'm going to give his bishop some opportunities to point very dangerously towards my guys. So right now, this pawn is on a white square. And if this bishop moves here, it's not really doing much because it's being blocked by his own pawn. So even though I can take this pawn, I'm going to choose not to do that. And I'm going to choose to play around it instead, because I feel like if I take this pawn, his bishop is going to get too powerful. And instead, I'm just going to try to create an attack against this king, which doesn't have too many pawns protecting it. Okay, we're going to get the knight in the middle, and we're going to try to move up the pawns. Okay, it was a bit not enough time on the clock for Jay Brooks. I went on time in a position that is still equal in material. I have a knight, he has a bishop, but the biggest feature of the position is this pawn on d5, and the fact that it's blocking his bishop from really doing anything. So I feel like if in my next couple of moves, if he doesn't do anything, then I wanna just slowly improve my position, and then at some point I would like to go something like knight g4 and create threats towards the white king, also getting some rooks on the e-file. Over time, this would have been my plan, and I was in this final position we had, I was quite liking my chances. Okay, next in the queue is Danny Echo. Let's start that game. Ooh, I get the white pieces again. Let's go e4 this time. Change it up a little bit. So you didn't want to win the pawn because it would help his bishop. Yes, John Seth. That is exactly my thinking. Okay, so Danny plays the Sicilian, which is a very difficult opening to master. Because it's not really, it doesn't seem like a pawn in the middle, but the main move for white is playing d4, after which you get to exchange one of your pawns on the side of the board for one of the pawns in the middle for white. So we're not going to do that. I kind of like this bishop b5 opening. And one of the reasons that this is pretty nice is that you get to castle really early on. While black is still finishing with getting his pieces out. Okay, g6. I think normally you go e6 in this position. Try to build a center. So when he doesn't do that, I'm going to take this opportunity to build up in the center. And this is what you're looking for. The pawns taking control all over these fifth rank squares. And we're just gonna, we have perfect positioning for our knights as well. The knights usually always best when they come in towards the middle. Up and towards the middle from their starting position. That is always optimal for the knights. Okay, it's time to pounce. I am very tempted to move in, to move this pawn forward. I could go rook d1 first, but I kind of want to just go for it. Okay, we're gonna do it. e5. Always when you break up your perfect pawns standing next to each other, that's always a big decision. So now I'm relinquishing a lot of control over light squares. And that makes me a bit nervous. The best move here by far would have been to go back with the knight. He captures, and now I capture back. One of the problems now is that I can get my rook pointing towards this knight, and also looking at the queen in the process. Listen carefully, guys. Hammer is teaching us how to beat him, says Tankan. Yeah, if only chess was that easy. If you in one session could get all the tricks. Okay, so knight g4 has been played. So rook d1 is a move, bishop f4 is a move. But the move I kind of want to play the most is just to go e6. The thing about going e6 is then I kind of disrupt his pawn structure. But at the same time, I feel like if I go forward, then he gets his knight into the middle. And I'm not really supposed to be behind in development at this stage. So I feel like I might just move the bishop just to kind of get the bishop out. That's always a good strategy. Get the pieces into play. But I'm tempted by this move. Nah, we're gonna keep it solid. I think if I moved forward, then he could have gotten his knight into the middle. So I think this was an okay call, and now we're gonna do something Karpov-esque. So we're gonna attack this knight. It doesn't have a lot of squares it can move, and when the knight steps back, we're gonna get a double attack. We're gonna get the queen pointing towards here, but it's also pointing towards here, and we're gonna pick up this knight. So that was also one of the benefits of that bishop f4 move, that I would be able to restrict the movements of this knight on g4, and it paid off in a big way. Hey, Potless Flower, how are you today? Yeah, so the only thing that you have to be kind of attentive of now is my queen safety. Honestly, my last move may have been a huge blunder. Yeah, I gave away my queen, didn't I? He could have gone rook d8, and it's not really clear where my queen is going to go. But now that he went into defensive mode, I think we can move the knight back. So the knight is safe. The queen has a retreat square. And the only unprotected piece, this is pretty good advice. You should always kind of have track mentally your unprotected pieces. So the only piece I'm kind of concerned about at this stage is my bishop, but I think it's going to be fine. Bloby, thank you for subbing. Are you going to sign up for a game? Okay, we're going to get the queen out of here. Luckily, there's no queen rook d4 because I have this protected by my knight. That was pretty important. And now, once again, it's the bishop safety. We have to be a bit aware of. Maybe we should just move her, yeah, all the way back. Just keeping everything protected. Ooh, actually he has knight c1. That's pretty clever. Because now my rook is potentially trapped in the corner. F from Eternal September. That's not great. Bishops is he or she. I don't know, Potless Flower. I reserve the right to call them whatever I want. Oh, this is nice. This we're dubbing this game the double attack. For the second time in this game, we have gotten a double attack on two of Black's pieces. No, we're not playing Puzzle Rush today, Chess Club Live. We're doing Chess.com Sub Saturday, where a different master every Saturday plays against the Chess Channel subscribers. F is a game reference for respect? I didn't know that, 5. I thought that F meant that your stream had gone down, that you were having connectivity issues. More double attacks and the fork emotes from Caro-Kann. Yeah, that's rough. The queen getting involved more than once in that game. Let's see the queue. Where are you streaming from? Asks Headed West. I'm streaming from Oslo, Norway today. Oh, I thought it almost always meant that the stream had died. But you pay respect to the stream. Okay, I learned something today. Let's see, where's the queue? Go the Savage is next up. I do not have an incoming challenge from Go the Savage. And next up after that is Caro-Kann. So Gogo, in addition to signing up with the moderators, you have to challenge me to a game within the Chess.com server. There will be a link in chat for you to use. Okay, we're gonna play a standard Queen's Gambit. Caro-Kann is playing the Slav variation, and we're gonna play e3. It's not the most aggressive opening, but honestly, I would say it's one of the more instructive ones, because you're just getting the bishop out, and then you're gonna castle. What could be more? What could be better than doing this? Okay, what's going on now? I feel like I'm getting into territory I don't really know. So this is the semi-Slav variation. I think I'm just gonna go here. We're gonna play it slow. We're gonna get this bishop pointing in towards the middle. And then we're just gradually gonna get our pieces ready into play. What is your favorite tournament game? Or your favorite game, asks Spartamu. That is my game against Karasenkov, a Polish grandmaster. I played in 2015. It was when at New Year's. So I'm not sure whether it was 14 or 15. But that was a really, really, really good game. I was so happy with that afterwards. Okay, so maybe I should have gone here trying to exchange off these bishops. Because now I'm kind of unhappy about letting him get his knight up to this aggressive position on e4. And can I punish this somehow? I don't think so. Yeah, I regret letting him play this aggressive move. Okay, we're gonna... Yeah, okay, we're gonna go here. He's gonna play f5. I'm gonna move my knight around on this side. And stuff is gonna happen. And I'm really not sure whether it's gonna work out. What's your username? Subbing with Twitch Prime. Thank you. Are you gonna get a game? Okay, this knight move I really dislike. Because you already had very good control over this square. So the knight is really redundant in attacking these squares in the middle. And what you lose is that this knight was doing a fantastic job of protecting the e5 square. So now when you move your knight, I'm going to move my knight, and also I'm ready to push out your most aggressive piece. And honestly, the square that knight, the most forward knight, wants to go is back here. So you just lost so much time in your attacking plan. Is what I feel. Okay, taking that, giving up a bishop, big decision. Big decision there to give up the bishop. Hey, Nick. Okay, and now what are we gonna do? We have a nice square for this guy over here. We can also use this move to push back his guy. It's not a very easy decision. You know what? I think I'm gonna use this knight to attack here. But honestly, one of the main points of this move is that if I went f3, then he would have gone knight c5, putting pressure on my bishop. Whereas after having played this move, now I'm able to go f3, the knight goes here, and I can move my bishop to a better square. Because now I can use this square the knight previously occupied. Okay, so he's trying to go after my pawn. We don't really want him to get that guy. But maybe we have some tactics. Maybe we have some tactics. So now if knight f7, I'm going to take this one and open up for my rook. And honestly, even in this situation, I'm going to take this one and open up for the rook. And that's going to be a super annoying rook to deal with for black. Yeah, I'm gonna need to go a lot faster. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna try to sacrifice. We're gonna try to win this game through domination of the pieces. So he's gonna have to go with his queen back. Then he's going to get knight c5 on the next move, which honestly is kind of annoying. Okay, that was a mistake, I think. Because now his queen is going to be stuck here for an extended period of time. We're going to go here, trying to increase the pressure. And threatening knight takes d5. He's going to go knight f7. Okay, he's not going to go knight f7. But he didn't really do anything about this thing. Although I'm not sure whether the tactics work out in my favor. Take, 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 take. Queen in between. This is going to be a high stress finish to the game. Okay, I'm just going to have to I'm going to have to go for it. "100% flag, sister." I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be in this situation if I didn't think I could deal with it. I don't know what that was about. I wouldn't let my time run down if I didn't think I was in control. But the thing is, sometimes you get overly confident. So sometimes you think you got it under control, even though you don't. But I think I have the speed to win this. Especially with the extra queen. Ooh, that's not a good move. Okay, we get the win on time. It was an interesting position, but I was spending too much time. I needed to speed up. So knight takes d5. I don't know how to evaluate this. Chess.com tells me one player dominated the entire game. 0 mistakes, 0 blunders, 0 missed wins. So maybe this was a good move, but it's very complicated. It wasn't really clear to me what would happen after queen here, although then I can just take the rook. Probably just black doesn't have any good moves here. Chat was right, 100% flag, says 5. Yes, that is true. The flag did happen, but it was not in Caro-Kann's favor. Go the Savage. No, I do not have your challenge. And since everyone else is getting their challenges in, I really feel like there's some settings on your end there's a problem with. Maybe one of the moderators can help you out, making sure that you don't have settings preventing you to challenge a 2700 player. Hammers here is electric. Yes. Well, actually, it's much better now than it was some hours ago. So it still has potential for even more voltage, to continue the analogy. Do you have a different favorite flag now? Asks Twitch too weak too slow. No. I don't know what you guys are on about, but I maintain that the Central African Republic has the best flag. Good evening, Perpetual Stalemate. Add me to the queue, he says. Okay, who is next up? I think it's Bloby. Q. Go the Savage and Bloby. Yeah, and Go hasn't really... I have the challenge! Go Savage! We have the challenge. I'm not sure I knew that was a country, says Deconstructive. Well, you should look it up. The flag alone is worth the experience. Okay, another e4 game. We're going to try the Caro-Kann today. It's a bit less of following the principles, but at least, you know, we get a pawn in the middle protected by a different pawn. And get the bishop out as well. F3 is not really the move you want to play ever, really. But especially now, because you really want to use that square for your knight. So it doesn't really pan out very well when you use that square for the pawn instead. But on the other hand, it's an unusual move, so I'm going to spend some time to think about what I want to do. And I want to open up for my bishop. Okay, knight out. Interesting. So you find a different square to use the knight. But I'm just going to get my pieces out. Get this one here, this one here. Just have a solid position. It's really not that special, says Gobbity. Yeah, no, I got a lot of people were disapproving of my choice for favorite flag. But what are you gonna do? I mean, that is my favorite. Okay, we're gonna steal a pawn in this game. Because after bishop d3, the bishop stands in the way of the queen's defense. and we can just capture this guy, and then we're going to run back, and we're ready to take this bishop. And taking this one is a good move, because now he has to alter his pawn structure. So we're going to exchange the queens, and what happens is that this pawn lands on a file where it no longer can be defended by any of the other white pawns. So the people in charge of defending this pawn are going to have to be the white pieces. So I'm going to castle, immediately attacking the pawn. Probably, yeah, he's moving it forward. And now this knight just loses all of its aggressive capabilities. Because now the knight is going to be stuck here defending the pawn for pretty much the rest of the game. Or at least that's going to be my strategy. Also, knights, I get a really nice square for the knight. And just like the pawn cannot be protected by any other white pawns, my knight cannot be attacked by any white pawns. So it has a very nice outpost. You can stay there. What flag are we talking about? Asks Voyer. It is the Central African Republic. Yeah, that could have been a good move, Dreams Crusher. But I would have had a plan against that. So here we see the culmination of our strategy. We just put every single one of our pieces to attack that pawn. And in the end, white was unable to keep protecting it. And now the unfortunate rook blunder is going to end the game. Next week on the Sub Saturdays, we're going to have Danny Wrench as in the role as the chess master. So something to look forward to there. If you think I'm too boring or whatever. I don't know why we brought this up even. Okay, this is checkmate. Just make sure you don't stalemate your opponents. You can get a couple of points that way. I got stalemated yesterday by a guy who was winning on time. He was winning on the board, but he got too stressed, and I managed to get the draw through stalemate, but not for Gogo the Savage. He got checkmated. Okay, so we have played d4, we have played e4. I guess the next step is just bringing the knight into the game and then moving this pawn. And, ooh, knight c6. I wanted to just show how we could make castles in 4 moves. That is the quickest you can castle in chess. But we cannot do that now because this knight c6 move is threatening to go with his pawn into the middle with e5. And we're going to have to stop that. We need to go d4 to take control. So I used to know some theory on this. I played this against Stefanova in Yerevan some years ago, and I had prepared a very good opening, but I don't remember. I think she played queen d7 and tried to create an attack though. This is a bit of a more positional approach. So I guess he's going to try to go knight e4. I don't know. Let's go c4. Put pressure on the middle of the board. And now I feel like I maybe could take this and go knight e5. So now we're gonna put pressure on this pawn, which seems strange because right now we only have a bishop pointing there with the knight and queen defending. But the thing is that right now we're threatening to take this knight, which would seriously damage black's pawn structure. So he will want to prevent that. And the way to prevent it is to take my knight. But then I'm going to take back, and suddenly, not only do I have the queen pointing towards this pawn, I would also be threatening the knight, trying to push it back from the defense of the d5 pawn. Minion says, I think castling is a bad move since it tells your opponent you know too much about the game. Okay, I thought you were about to say something like it shows your opponents your intentions and then he's going to attack on that side. But no, you're just afraid of giving away too much information on your skills. Okay, so it was a tricky decision to make. Bobby decides just to move the bishop. But now I'm going to be reasonably happy just to take this one, I think. Maybe not. He has good central control. Okay, let's take this one. And now he has doubled pawns. Potential. It's doubled pawns on a half open line. So if I can just get a rook now to point towards these guys, that's going to be pretty annoying for black. But it's not really clear how I'm going to get my rook here, because I am not sure where I want my pieces to be for this game. I'm going to go knight d2, because I want the option of either going up here or up here. And now I got to make a decision. I got to decide which way I want to go. You know what? I'm going to go here. It's closer to my king, but also it's closer to attacking this guy. Okay, bishop e4. Probably a good move. I'm going to go bishop g5. And the reason I'm doing this is that my bishop isn't really that great in this position. Because it's being... I have a lot of pawns placed on dark squares. And honestly, I'm planning to move my pawn here. So I'm just going to give away my bishop. And then I get the time I need to put pressure along the c-file. And I'm kind of leaving the task. Okay, that was kind of strange. Okay, I just got a pawn for free there. But I'm leaving the task of defending the dark squares to my pawns. So I'm going to create a couple of pawn chains. Pawns protecting each other here. So that the guys are working together to cover the tasks I would normally leave to my my bishop on the dark squares. And I'm not going to be afraid of opposite colored bishops. Because, well, right now I'm a pawn up. For one. Queen goes to the side, attacks my my pawn. Kind of afraid of what he's going to do about the dark squares over here. I would really like to exchange off this bishop so that he no longer has the bishop pair. But I would also like to keep my pawn. Yeah, that was a pretty annoying move. Okay, we just got to do something. So bishop e7 is really annoying. Then rook takes c7, bishop d6. And no matter where I put my rook, he's just going to keep attacking the rook with with his bishop. So I might have to give up the rook in exchange for the bishop to kind of stop the continued harassment. Would a4 have worked there? I don't like playing a4 because then he gets a lot of pressure on my pawn. So when he has a half open file like this one, I want to have my pieces defending. Okay, he played rook b7 to protect, but that was a bit too slow. And I'm going to use this opportunity to attack his bishop. And now he has different problems. And now it doesn't feel as dangerous for me. One of the things I gain through this exchange is that I can now put my rook on c2, where it cannot be attacked by his bishop. So I'm no longer concerned about his bishop continuously harassing my rook. So now I'm just going to go knight f3, rook d1, queen b1. I'm basically just going to put all my pieces on white squares and win the game. And normally when you have all your pieces on white squares, it's a very bad sign because it means that you have very poor dark square control. But I have these amazing pawns doing a great job controlling tons of dark squares. So I'm right now, I am the champion of both the light squares and the dark squares. Chess is about making your opponent miserable. I get it now, says Voyorino. Yeah, pretty much. Checks out. Okay, we're going to get doubled rooks on this side. Yeah, he's trying to play a4. That's a good idea. It's a very good idea. But we're just going to go here, attacking the rook, attacking this pawn. You know what? Am I going to take this one? I could. Or do I want to take this one? Actually, I want to take this one. Now I might also get this. That was a good move, protecting here. We're gonna do this and this and this. Okay, we're getting a bit short on time, but it's working itself out. I have many more pawns than my opponent. I didn't really play this in the best way, but it's good enough. We win on time, but also on the board. I had 3 pawns more than my opponent. And that's what happens when you control a lot of squares. You just end up capturing all your opponent's pieces. Because you're attacking more squares than he is. Okay. Next up is, I guess it's perpetual, right? Do you enjoy winning against low-rated players, or is it boring for you after all these years? Asks Swat. I get this question on my own stream as well. And my go-to answer is basically that when I play against people who are much weaker than myself, I am able to concentrate less on the game and more on the chat, if that makes sense. So I'm very tense when I'm playing tournaments, which I do fairly often. And so playing against viewers is a good it's a good way to mix it up, and also to pay more attention to what's going on in chat and have a more interactive stream, because I need to focus less on the games. Perpetual and then hop in the DeLorean. Do you learn from your games against much weaker opponents? Asks Daniel. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm not sure, but I don't think so. Well, I today I did learn that F is about paying respects. It's not necessarily that the stream died. So I may not learn a lot of chess things through playing against much weaker opponents, but I'm learning other things. Okay, what are we gonna do here? We'll take this one. I'm a bit reluctant to take it, because that he's gonna take back with the pawn, which means that he can put a knight on c3. And the only thing I'm concerned about in this opening is that he might get his pieces really quickly into the game. But I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Okay, we're gonna go with the knight here. Knight f3, okay. We're gonna go with the bishop, putting pressure on this knight. And through that pressure, we're also putting pressure in the middle, because if we take the knight, we can then take the pawn on d4. And now after e3, this is the big question. This is what I was thinking about earlier. Can I now play the pawn to e5 as a sacrifice to get my bishop really fast into play? And the answer to that is, I don't really know. It's a difficult decision. When you sacrifice a pawn in the middle, it's very, very important that you calculate correctly and you make the right assessment. Because if you end up without a pawn in the middle, that's very bad news. Sometimes when you sacrifice a pawn on the side of the board, that is much less risky, or the consequences to your position are less than if you sacrifice a pawn in the middle. So we're gonna keep it solid for now, just one move forward and trying to get the bishop out next. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna play this move actually, because it's there's one open file on the board, one file without any pawns, and those are the ones we like to use for our rooks. So when when my bishop prevents his rook from using the c1 square, that could be hugely beneficial for me. And now I'm even going to move my knight up to b4, putting pressure on this bishop. We're kind of, this is a bit of a non-standard strategy, because we're leaving our pieces here in the starting berth. But now bishop f5. Look at all of these threats we're creating with the bishops. So this is already pretty dangerous for white. Okay, he castles, and honestly, it was the best move, but for slightly depressing reasons, because he needed to have the square e1 for him to use for the queen. Because I was threatening to go down here with the bishop, and the only available square for the queen right now is where the king used to be. And now we're going to play knight d3. It's attacking the queen. The queen has nowhere to go. You have to capture my knight. And when I take back, number one, I get the bishop pair. But even more importantly, there's no way of saving the rook. The rook had nowhere to go. And as a result, we now have an extra rook in exchange for a bishop. And you know what? Actually, I don't feel like I'm doing a good job of advertising castling in this game. But I'm actually going to prioritize getting my rook on the open file before getting my king into safety. So now is the time for king safety. So now we're going to get the knight out and get the king to the side. And okay, if I castle, then he has knight d7, which would attack both my queen and my rook. So I guess we're gonna move the queen first, or maybe we can move the rook up, and then we prepare to double the rooks, while at the same time defending the square on d7. I like that idea. Now we're just going to get the rook here. We're going to get the rook down. And there's going to be all sorts of bad news happening for white. That bishop on a3 is such a boss, says Privacy. Yeah, I agree. That guy is doing a great job. Okay, so after queen d3, that removes the possibility of the knight moving to d3. So I feel like this might be a good moment to attack the knight. Thank you, Antar. Ooh, knight c4. I didn't see that move. So he's exploiting the fact that if I take his knight, then he can take my guy. But who's tricking who in this scenario? We're going to go with the queen here so that we're pointing towards his queen. Can you play the King's Indian Defense? Asks Besiktas. No, we don't do that. Oh, I'm low on time. I'm very low on time. I was not focused on time at all. This is very bad news. I might not win this. I might lose this, actually. Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah, I completely forgot the time. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's not good. I blundered my rook. I shouldn't have done that. Okay. And he should have exchanged the queens. Whew! I completely forgot the queen, the time there. That was sweaty. Whew. It was all calculated. No worries, says Timotheus. Yeah. Honestly, I have not done a great job staying attentive to the time situation. But yeah, that was yeah, I took some time here deciding to take this one. Probably I should have just done this earlier. Because here I had... Oh, I had 2 seconds left. Yeah, so I would have made it. I would have had time to take this one. And then I would have managed to give checkmate within 20 moves. Something like this. I don't know. I think I would have made it anyway. But it was very, very close. Unnecessarily risky play. Time to spare, sister. Yeah, we had some time to spare there. I guess there was about 1 second. Okay, Hop in the DeLorean is next up. We're going back to the traditional King's Pawn openings. Yes, a Spanish opening. The oldest opening and the best opening in the world. Do you guys know how I know that this Spanish, the Ruy Lopez, how I know that is the best opening? It's because it's the most common opening. And when something is common, it's probably a reason everyone is doing it. Because it's a pretty darn good opening. Ah, Perpetual missed that the queen was hanging. Yeah, that hurts. But I think you were in trouble regardless. Okay, Hop in the DeLorean playing a very aggressive version of the Spanish. So normally you go h3 before putting the pawn to d4. Normally you go h3, well, here. Because after d4, bishop g4 is considered to be good for black. Because you get this indirect pressure against d4 through attacking the knight that's defending d4. And now h3, I'm going to take this guy. And then, you know, I might take this guy. We talked about giving away pawns in the middle. That is very costly because it also means that your opponent gets a lot more pressure in the middle. So very often it's a good idea to just, if your opponent makes a sacrifice in the center, it might be worth your time to accept the challenge and go for it. I'll get Danny, says Perpetual Stalemate. Yeah. New attempts possible. Trying to beat one of the masters next Saturday. Yeah, knight, queen g3, that I thought he might do it, but I don't think it's a good move though. Because now my knight is posing the question, where are you going to go in the future? And frankly, there's only one square this queen can move to. And it's not the best square on the board. Let me put it like that. It's not the queen's favorite spot to move into the corner. And that's I'm gonna try to punish this somehow. First, I'm gonna move my queen up, which also has the benefit of making sure that his knight cannot get into play. But mostly, I'm trying to create a fork, getting the queen pressuring against the white king. When is the Naka Sairavan match? Asks Tinguet. Um, if you're talking about the bug house, that has already happened. But you can go on Hikaru's channel to review the action. Okay, we're gonna get a nice nice ending here. The knight attacking the rook and the pawn. So the rook is probably gonna go to the side and defend that pawn. And then it turns out it's a bit of a problem regardless, because we're gonna take this one, and with the knight and with the queen, we're gonna create a stunning attack on this white king. Wow, he's thinking. Is he really thinking about moving his king? I didn't really consider that at all. Okay, he takes, and now I give the check. And it's very bad news for this king. Because if the king moves, then I have queen c1 check. So he has to give up his queen. And then if we do the material count, let's just say white is not having a good time. Maybe try to block this bishop out of the game. I kind of want to prevent him from going with the knight here. I ran out of attacking pieces. I gave away both my knights to get the queen. So I kind of have to delay my attacking scheme. And now we need to get the rooks into play somehow. I don't necessarily want to take this one because then he gets his knight into play very quickly. Pepe King Prawn with the sub. Are you looking to get a game, Pepe? That can be organized. Okay, let's not spend too much time. I'm going to play c6, because in very many of the variations I was thinking about, it was really annoying that his bishop got into the d5 square. So I'm just going to try to take control over that square. And if he takes my pawn, I thought maybe I can go here. Pepe King, you would like a game. You talk to Zizuma in chat. He's going to help you out what you need to do. Okay, so queen d3, attacking the rook, attacking this pawn, and attacking this pawn. He's not going to be able to defend everything at the same time. Although I really think developing his knight would have been his best choice. So now I'm gonna... First I'm gonna take this one, and then I'm gonna take this one. And he's kind of having some pressure against my guy. That wasn't really the way I was planning things to work out. Well, queen b4 is a good move, because now there's no way for him to attack my queen. And so my queen gets to stand and protect the pawn. And then I'm going to move this pawn forward. And now I lock his bishop completely out of the game. So this, I'm pretty happy with this move c6, because it has also enabled me to, well, let's do it in red, to make sure that his bishop stays out of play without the ability to do any danger. Okay, and now we're getting the rooks into the game. And then dangerous things are going to happen. Let's double the rooks. Okay, so he's attacking this guy. But honestly, I'm considering just letting him have that. A little consolation prize. Nah. Let's protect all our guys. I'm going to play g6 and king g7. Just to give my king a slightly better position. He's probably going to go bishop d5 now, because that bishop isn't really doing much anyhow. And he's trying the smothered mate on the last rank, but our plan has taken that into consideration. And okay, let's do this. Get rid of some rooks. And now it's the highway to a new queen for that pawn. And we get the game. Why didn't you trade with rook e1? Because if I go rook e1, he gets to take my pawn. I mean, I could have done it, but I just thought if I lose this pawn, my king is in a slightly worse position. There's no need. There's no need to do it. Okay, let's see. Who is your next? What's your Twitch channel? Asks Hubix. I don't know if you got the answer, but let's do this just in case. What is Magnus's IQ? Asks Splitsky. I don't know. I don't think Magnus knows. Honestly, I don't know a lot of people who have actually checked what their IQ is. It doesn't really have that much effect on your everyday life. Is Magnus any good at Minesweeper? Asks Kama. Yeah, that's a good question. We should find out at some point. Do we have the queue? Are there no more people who wants to play with me? I'm confused. Need to see a Minesweeper match, Magnus versus Hammer. Yeah, that would be good. That would be something for the history books. Is young Ludwig good at Minesweeper? Asks Anfor. Probably no. I mean, I think I'm pretty good. But I feel like I'm one of those guys who have no idea what kind of a level the best people are at. So like I'm like I feel like I'm good, but then it turns out there's just a completely different level I'm unaware of. Bobble 96 is next up. I don't have that challenge. Pepe King Prawn. I do have that challenge. So let's do that one. Twitch account. We're playing with subscribers of the chess channel. So if you subscribe, we can get a game. What esport intrigues you the most? Asks And4. Fortnite. But to be fair, it's the only game I really know. So I'm not really... The kind of games I play mostly are like Civilization. And there's no esport in Civilization. So the only like esport game I know is Fortnite. And I think it's very interesting. I think it's more interesting watching these huge, I don't know even how to describe it. When everyone is, there's like 50 players on such a small part of the map, that everything just goes crazy. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, I don't really know what to do here. So I have been advocating the pawns in the center strategy. So listening to my own advice, I think I'm going to push c5. I've already gotten my king into safety. So that's one part of the plan achieved. And then we're on to the next one. Okay, bishop b2. I'm going to take this one. Who's your favorite Fortnite streamer? Asks Gobady. It would have to be... It's pretty close, but I actually... My favorite Fortnite streamer came to Oslo to visit me and give me some tips. So I kind of have to say Mr. Alec TV as my favorite. But I also watch a bit of Loya. She's this girl from Sweden, and she's so good. It's unbelievable. And well, she's also kind of like a streaming role model, because after I got into streaming, you get a lot of respect for the people who play 9 hours every single day, 7 days a week. So that's kind of, it's more shock and awe than anything else, but it's incredible, some of these Fortnite streamers, how they can have the energy to play all the time. Okay, I really feel like white should have gone bishop f3 at some point, challenging my big diagonal here. I'm actually so concerned about this bishop move that I'm gonna play knight e5 and try and prevent it, getting my knight, giving it some influence here. Okay, so Pepe goes knight f3, which is similar but different. So we're going to give him a doubled pawn, but it's still a very equal position. So we're going to take here, and how are we going to win this? It's very unclear. This is actually very high level advice. Magnus taught me that you should try to control the open file furthest away from the kings. So it might be, your instinct might be to go rook d8. But Magnus has taught me that I should go rook c8 and try to control the file furthest away from where the kings are. To me, that was like, I was a grandmaster when he told me that. And to me, that was like a big revelation. But it makes a lot of sense. Okay, so I kind of want to go here. Because we can use this strategy of... we had big success with that against DeLorean earlier. Using the bishop to prevent the rook from being able to challenge on the c-file. Ooh, that is bad timing, Farkas. Just turned in what was the big revelation. Oof. I would go into the VODs on that one. I wouldn't want to miss out on some Carlsen advice. So when there's two open files, like here, you want to control the one furthest away from the kings. Is the advice I was given. I'm guessing it is, as the king is less likely to be able to challenge the rook on the same rank. Yeah, something like that. The king would require more time to get out there on the edge. Something along those lines. Is it relevant or just a superstition? No, that is high level strategy advice, Tankan. He told me after he used that very same strategy against me. And I lost that game. You can check out Hammer Carlsen from Norway Chess 2013. F4, I like this move because you're trying to prevent me from playing my my pawn to e5. Okay, rook d2. I'm not sure about that move. Okay, I'm gonna try to play g5. Ooh, rook d2. I completely didn't understand what the idea behind this move was. Interesting idea. Ooh, and if I take this one, then knight d6 is gonna win the game for white. Ooh, very tricky guy. So we're gonna have to move the bishop. Did you ever win against Carlsen? Asks Bumbler Blob. Yes, I did. Okay, we're gonna play f5. It's good timing to pose some questions to this knight. It doesn't have as many good retreat squares as it once used to. And then g5. Yes, in classical time control, Scramblin. When he was world champion, even. Okay, so I played g5, which he gets rid of his doubled pawns. But note that now I have the potential of maybe putting some pressure here along the h file. So he got rid of his doubled pawns, but I still have an advantage with the pawn structure. Although I'm kind of getting low on time without a clear plan how to win. We might just have to beat him on time. Yeah, we cannot do anything instructive here. I guess the remaining instructiveness is going to be how to flag opponents. You just play quickly. There's not much to it. Okay, I'm going to play this one if he allows me. Wow, maybe he's a genius. I don't know. Okay, we're gonna have a race. And I'm gonna win the race. Yeah. Quick finish there. We can recap. I got myself a passed pawn. And then I was threatening knight b4. So here he had to go with his king over to this side, because otherwise I would play knight b4 and my pawn would queen. So king f1 was a very good move. Maybe I should have played something differently here, like pushing the pawn. But I just used my king to get down here and try to create a passed pawn on the other side of the board. And it worked out very well. Yeah, he played really well for 1300. Really, really well. Good game, Pepe. Bubble 96 is next up. And then we have Kinderpin Jake. Kinda Pink Jake, sorry. I got the capitalizations wrong. Okay, so this is castling on move 4, everyone. Castles on move 4. That is as good as it gets. And we're gonna steal this pawn if given the opportunity. Okay. We weren't given that opportunity. Actually, he's about to put both his pawns in the middle. And that's really annoying. I don't like playing against opponents who take control in the middle of the board. Yeah, that's actually pretty... It's very unorthodox play here from Bubble, but it's not silly. He's about to get 2 pawns in the middle. I'm gonna have to do some thinking, figuring out what to do about this. Yeah, I'm not loving my own play. Okay, we're gonna try this. And then when he goes e5, I'm gonna go bishop g5. And we're gonna go for quick development. Okay, he tries to be more calm. That might be a good idea, actually. Not to get too aggressive. I'm gonna go here. No, I don't really like that. But on the other hand, do I have much of a choice? I feel like I misplayed this opening horrendously. I didn't put a pawn in the center. And this is what happens, people. When you don't put a pawn in the middle, you may regret your choices at a later stage. Okay, I'm gonna go here. Yeah, I'm in Norway. Okay, I get to play e4 without having to exchange queens. That's actually pretty good news for me. And not because I dislike exchanging queens. It's actually one of my favorite things. But in this situation, exchanging the queens would also have left me with some weaknesses that were difficult to defend. However, now it's suddenly very bad news for Bobbly. He played a very good game, or very good opening, I should say. But you make one mistake, your opponent forks your bishop and knight, and it's all over. Okay, the interesting counter attempt. But I'm just gonna move back Maybe he wants to go attack the rook. Can I take this one? Takes. Yeah, that might actually work out. Hey, Ibshi. Okay, so we're gonna attack the queen. We're attacking the bishop. We're attacking the bishop like this. We're attacking everything. And now we're attacking the rook. We're attacking the bishop. Okay, well done. Yeah, I got too nonchalant there. I should have taken this one. No, it's the same. Yeah, I'm still a piece up. Okay, temporarily I'm 2 pieces up, but queen here is going to attack both my rook and my bishop. And I cannot defend both at the same time. But it's fine, because I already have 2 extra. So it doesn't matter that he gets 1 back. Let's just move back. And then get the bishop out. What did you study at university? Asks Bacon Buddy. I didn't actually finish anything, but I did a little more than a year of economics, and then I did 2 years of journalism. Yeah, let's just exchange. Has it helped you? Asks Andfor. Honestly, I would say yes, because I'm doing a lot of chess commentary for Norwegian broadcasters. So having some kind of understanding of how journalists work, I think that's been pretty helpful. Good escape from economics. Yeah, Bacon. Well, both my parents are economists, so that was kind of more the natural path. And then at some point I realized that I don't understand any of the math. Did you see the blitz match, Svidler versus Carlsen? No, I didn't, but I hear that Svidler got a bit of a beating. Magnus is pretty good. Okay, we got some stuff going on here. We're about to get a new queen. And Bobbler resigns because of it. Why do you think chess is so more popular in Norway than in Sweden? Asks Andfor. Well, there is this guy called Magnus Carlsen. You may have heard of him, the current world chess champion. That is the one and only reason. No one in Norway would care about chess without having such a high-profile player as Magnus representing the game. So that's what it's about. Honestly, chess was reasonably popular in Sweden back when they had some high-level players like Ulf Andersson. And membership numbers of the Swedish and the Danish chess federations have always been much higher than in Norway. So chess being popular in Norway is more of it's a recent phenomena. You know what I'm trying to say. Um, and it's not really reflected very well in the membership of the Chess Federation either. So there's tons of people playing chess in Norway, for instance, on Chess.com and other servers. Because there's chess in the news, there's chess broadcasts and stuff like that. Um, but the number of tournament players in Norway hasn't really changed that much. So it's more of a people in general are interested in or know things about chess than more so than previously. Wow, Mr. Chow with the big shout out there with some shade at Carlsen. Carlsen is no better than the others in classical. He couldn't beat the American in any classical game. He's only good in fast games now. Well, Mr. Chow, I would suggest you take a look at the Tata Steel Chess Tournament in the Netherlands, played this January, because Magnus was on fire. Honestly, I think it may have been the best I have ever seen him. And that guy had a 2880 rating. So he's played some phenomenal fun. What's with my... He's played some good chess previously. And he was really doing well. This January tournament. Yeah, I don't even want to try any more words starting with the PH. Aquila! Just checked my game versus Hammer again. 99.3% accuracy. Cheater for sure. Yeah. Or maybe just super good at the game. Were you born in the same year as Magnus Carlsen? Asks Steinitz. Yes, we're both born in 1990. How many languages do you speak? Asks Alke. Two. I dabble. I know some words and phrases and stuff in French and German and Russian. But I can only really speak two languages. Okay, the queue is kinda Pink Jake, Super Saiyan, and Hipside. We have one more hour of games. So we're gonna get all of you guys into it. I jinxed you asking why your English was so good. Well, you know, it's good at times, Raging. I lived in the US as a kid. It may have helped it, but also, you know, it's chess is an international game. You travel quite a bit when you talk to French people, when you talk to English people, when you talk to Hungarian people, you know? Everyone is communicating in English. So you get some practice. Okay, I want this bishop. Sir, please give me your bishop. Where in the US did you live? Asks Ed. My family and I guess. We lived in Berkeley when I was 9. I played my first couple of tournaments in the US. And what I really like about the US Chess Federation is that you have very meticulous records of even children's tournaments. So I can go on the US chess website and see all the tournament results from when I was 9 years old, which I think is pretty cool. Okay, we got some stuff going on here in both directions. This is what we call a tense situation. Both pawns can take in either direction. So I don't mind if he takes this one, because then I can take back with a knight. And I'm going to take this one because I have calculated that I'm going to win a pawn. If he takes here, I take back. And I think it's gonna give me an extra pawn. He takes with the pawn, then I can take this one. He takes back, I take here. Looks good. Yeah, I'm not even trying, Bloby. Oh, big mistake there from Jake. He tries to be clever with the attack against my queen. But I don't even care. I'm just going to keep capturing. And when we do the counting exercise after, we're going to see that Jake lost out on one of his pieces right there. So he tried to defend this pawn by not taking. So the idea was good, but the execution was flawed. Because while he's attacking my queen, I'm also attacking his queen. And I'm just taking pieces in the progress. In the process. What is your USCF rating? Well, the thing is they changed it every time I come visit. But back when I was playing as a kid, I think I had a 1040 USCF rating. And I was really happy with that. I thought that was really good. Well, there was this kid in Berkeley who was like unbelievably good. His name was Daichi Siegrist, and he was like 1600. 1600 when he was still, like 10 years old. So he was like the big hero. But he quit playing chess. That's the thing, right? There's a lot of people who have a head start on you, but you gotta stay with it. A lot of people don't make it through their teens, and if you do, then you already have a much better chance at becoming a grandmaster, for instance. Your son is 13 and he's 1900 USCF. Well, DeLorean, I can tell you that is way better than I was at 13. Max looking for a game. There is a chance. Okay, we're just gonna rush. Not puzzle rush, but we're rushing it. Oh no, I blundered my pawn. Oh. Sorry. I misspoke. I didn't blunder my pawn after all. It was a trap. It was a trap. Okay, next up, I think is Super Saiyan, right? Any tips on how to improve? Asks Jake. No, I think you had a good game. You got tricked here. I think your intention with the C5 move was very good, right? Because you saw that I was about to capture the pawn on d4, but it was just a flawed execution. And honestly, this is very similar to some of the puzzle rush tactics. So I guess just, your opening was fine. You just got tricked. So maybe do some tactics. My general advice for anyone wanting to get better is just do puzzles, tactics, and play blitz. That gets you a long way. As a kid, I was just playing blitz non-stop. A lot of coaches say that you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't play blitz, but honestly, look at the amount of hours I have playing blitz. Look at the amount of hours Magnus has playing internet blitz. Look at Firuja right now killing everyone on Chess.com. Playing internet blitz has been a recipe for success for many top players at the moment. So I think coaches who say that you shouldn't do that are being a bit unnuanced, because quantity still counts. Quality might be even better, but quantity still counts for something. Yeah, Super Saiyan is next, right? I'm just double checking. Super Saiyan, then hip side, then max. Okay, we're gonna have to play a bit quicker because this guy has a 2200 rating. We're gonna play the Queen's Gambit. Ooh, another Slav. We've had one of those earlier. And I'm going to stick with my e3 move, because I feel like it's pretty easy to understand what's going on. You get the bishop out, and then you get castled. It's not very complicated chess. Okay, so bishop g4, my idea was to go here. It's a bit unusual, but it's been played by Mr. Carlsen, amongst others. So, can't be that bad. Jumejo with the 12-month resub. And that does earn you the queen. Stats? What kind of command is that? I've never seen that before. Can I do stats for me, or is it? Okay, I guess not. Okay, Super Saiyan is taking his time. That's basically what I wanted to happen. When I play an unusual opening, you want your opponent to spend some time. You want to catch him unaware of the strategy. Okay, we're just going to go here. Get the pieces out. We're ready to castle whenever we feel like it. So does he want to take here? You know what? Maybe he does want to do that. Let's just castle. Oh, I just started the biggest spamming of the year, didn't I? Everyone interested in checking their stats. What is it with people and their fascination for numbers? We love it, don't we? Okay, I may have made a mistake here. Maybe he's going to take this and go to bishop g6. Okay, he's not doing that because now I get to play knight e5 and I'm pretty happy. So you can see I have my, come on. I have my guys pointed in this general direction. So even though my opening was kind of, you know, casual or not that aggressive, you can have aggressive intentions, just slowly building up your position. Okay, so bishop g6. I'm just going to take this bishop. I'm pretty happy because I got a bishop. I value my bishops. And then what are we going to do next? I think we're just going to go here. And then we're going to go here. It's kind of difficult to understand what he's doing because he's pretty much restricted to this box. He doesn't have any big active opportunities to expand his situation. Although my knight f3 may have been a pretty bad move. But I'm just gonna sit here. And it's not really, you know what? I misplayed this. I need to be more, yeah, I need to do something fast. Let's do this. I really regret making this move because I need to have control over these two squares. So I kind of regret moving my knight over here because I really want to go e4 and I can't really do that when I have my knight on f3. I needed to have the knight supporting here. Yeah, I misplayed this. Okay, we're gonna do this. But if I go here, then he can go knight e4. Yeah, I really regret my decisions about things. Yeah, we're gonna have to do it anyway. My bishop isn't great. My bishop is currently kind of blocked by my own pawn. That's not a major issue in itself, but it kind of restricts the fun things I want to do. Move back, asks Ivan. Yeah, but the thing is he's coming with this move anyway, so I didn't really feel like moving back. Yeah, this reminds me of a game I played recently where I didn't really manage to make anything happen. Stevies with the Twitch Prime for 9 months. These streams are amazing and great. The Pro Chess League and Speed Chess Championship in particular. Thanks a lot. Keep up the good work and add me to the queue. Done, done, and done. Well, I'll let others say that it's done, but I suspect that they're gonna get you a spot. Yeah, I misplayed this horrendously. Okay, we're gonna have to stop trying to be instructive, and we're just gonna have to win on time. That's what's gonna happen now. Running low on time, says Light Rider. Yeah, I noticed. We're gonna have to flag this man. Okay, now we're gonna do this. Okay. He kind of prevented me from doing my plan. Oof, and I also got hit by g5. g5 actually traps my queen. No! Very bad news. Ugh. Yeah, this queen b5 move caught me by surprise. It was probably a pretty good one because I wanted to go a5, b5, a4, b5. Yeah, so I have completely lost control of the situation. Oh, I could have gone rook c5. Then I would have been winning, actually. Oh, I get another chance. That's generous of him. Show us your bullet skills. Yeah, but right now I'm winning fair and square. I never knew you existed until today. I think I can learn a lot from your stream, says Rubix. Well, thank you. That is very kind words. I hope to see you around sometime. Okay, that's kind of gonna decide it. Don't try to bait me, Bloby. I see straight through you. I see what you're trying to do. And I'm not falling for it. Okay, hip side is up next. Okay, knight c3. I just want to take a moment actually to address this. Knight c3 is a very bad move when you play a queen's pawn opening, because that prevents you from getting your pawn forward to attack the center. So knight c3, I would strongly encourage, and this actually also applies with reversed colors, that I would strongly recommend against doing this, because then you cannot fight for control in the middle as easily as you normally would. But in Hipside's defense, this is some kind of theory which people play. I'm just saying that, you know, you shouldn't be playing it. Hammer 2019 Versov is a bad opening. Yes, that is precisely what I'm saying. Don't do it. Okay, so we have an interesting situation with both players having doubled pawns. But if you count, you will see that he has 3 pawn islands. So he has kind of 3 pawn clusters. Whereas I have 2. And that means that my pawns are more compact together, defending each other in a better way than white's. Hammer is fine, Rubik's. Hammer is the thing most people use. Because for some reason, foreigners have a problem properly saying Jon Ludwig Hammer. Can you believe it? Okay, so we're just going to take this pawn because I'm greedy. So one of the advantages, I mean, number one, I have won a pawn. But number two, and this is very important, I'm also controlling the square b1, which means that he cannot get his rooks to attack my pawn on the queen side. And that's actually very good news for me. And then we can focus on attacking here on the e file instead. So I'm just going to move the bishop way back, but keep control on the b1 square. And then I'm going to try to gain control here. Okay, so he exchanges off my bishop. So even though my bishop was in the corner, he realized the value that it was actually a pretty powerful piece. And now I'm going to go on the e file. Okay, so once again, we're doing a trade, but his pawns keep getting worse and worse. So these guys should be a very good attacking target for me. I'm going to play c5, potentially opening up something for my rook here on the c file. If he goes d5, then I'm going to have a good square on e5. I'm going to have a good square for my king on d6. Basically, I'm going to have nothing but good squares in the position. Yeah, a4 is a good move. Trying to undermine my pawn on b6. And I'm going to go rook c8. Maybe trying to do something here. Yes, it will give him a protected passed pawn, Light Rider, but I'm not afraid of it. I think it's still going to be very much in my favor. Okay, we're going to take this one and do this. Okay, he plays e4. I was actually not expecting that move, but maybe I should have, because it's not a bad one. Maybe I should have gone f5 first. It's slightly tricky for me to get a hold of this guy. Okay, I'm gonna have to go here, but that's not optimal. Yeah, I made a mistake here. Okay, I'm gonna have to go here, but now he might be able to attack here. Okay, e5 was not the best move. Or maybe I spoke too soon. He's trying to exchange down into a rook endgame with only 3 pawns on each side. And he's absolutely correct. That would be a draw. I'm going to have to take back with the knight to avoid that rook endgame. I have massively misplayed this. Now he's going to try to go after this guy in the near future. And also going after here. Ooh, this is probably objectively a draw at this stage. I completely lost control of the situation. Yeah, no, this is a draw. Honestly, I should have taken with a pawn. Because right now I'm not even going to get anything for my... Okay, I'm gonna go after this one. Yeah, Hipside did a really good job defending that situation. I mean, he was in big trouble, but now he's making a comeback. Although that move was really bad. And now King F1, Rook E5 ends the game. Yeah. Okay. That was unfortunate. But good defending there. Could have made a draw. After rook e2, I feel like... I feel like even something like just knight c6, just take this pawn. And even though this is pretty scary looking, maybe you can survive. Yeah, it's still a bit unpleasant for white because he's having trouble defending close to his king. But it's potential for a draw. Maybe here you start pushing to distract black. Okay, Max and then Steve is up next. Okay, I remember Max. He plays the London. And I am so sick of the London. But we're gonna do it anyway. I played this Dutch guy in the tournament in Norway. And he had a very interesting way of playing. He played this move f6. Just trying to go e5. And then if they went knight f3 to prevent e5, then he went g5. He was a very aggressive player. Okay, I guess I'm just going to go here. Never play f6, says Aifa. Yeah, normally I would agree with you. 100%. And this is definitely breaking some of the principles we've been talking about. On the other hand, if I can get away with it, then I want to do it. Hey, Face Chess. How are you today? Yeah, so now I'm actually pretty happy. I feel like this boring London system did not work out the way boring London system players like for it to work out. Because I have some pieces in the middle doing a pretty good job. What are we going to play? Are we going to defend our center? I'm kind of concerned about this move in the future. Because when you have pawns like these in the middle, it looks really good. But at some point, you know, your opponent is going to challenge them from the side. And then it might become a big problem for you. So even though you have these pawns doing a good job right now, that can turn around real quick. So you got to be careful. I'm going to do this. Hammer's getting tired, says Aquila. I don't know what you're talking about. I am getting a little tired, actually. I ran out of carrots also. Okay, so Max, I guess he's going to go knight e2, castles, castles. And then he's going to try to play c4, which is kind of annoying. And I'm not really sure how to deal with that. Maybe I'll go like e4 and bishop f5. I'm still undecided. Okay, so he couldn't go knight f3 because then I would have a fork. Using my pawn in the middle. So he kind of had to go here. And he kind of has to get his king into safety, right? But then is the big question. What is going on? Good night, Cha-Cha girl. Okay, b4. Wow. Very aggressive. I'm just going to move back. Keep the bishop in this diagonal. a4. So he is trying to be cool. He's saying that I'm too cool to castle. And we're going to punish that. We're not going to have... We're trying to have an instructional stream. And he's trying not to castle? He must be punished for such uninstructive play. So the question is, are we going to do knight g4 or knight h5? I don't know. I could also go e4. I kind of want to go e4. So I want to somehow play, yeah, e3, and then I prevent him from castling, and then, yes, 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 very good. That's actually a great plan. So the reason I'm really excited about this is that, yes, knight f1 though. Yeah. Okay, let's do this instead. We want to create something here. Now we've released a lot of pieces attacking that square. What's going on in here, asks J-Dog. We're just playing some games with the Chess.com subscribers. If you want to subscribe and get a game, that is definitely something that we can make happen. Okay, so I'm playing e3. I'm trying to open up this diagonal towards white's king. So basically, if he takes this one, he's completely and utterly... yeah, it's a big problem. So he's choosing not to put his king in the corner. That's kind of surprising to me. So now I can take this rook at any moment. Although sooner rather than later maybe, because he's about to block this diagonal. Yes, so sooner rather than later. And then we're going to get this bishop up into the attack. He's going to go queen d3, trying to do checkmating things over here. Then I'm going to shut him down with queen h4 check. I might also play bishop f5. No, I prefer this. So we got the rook, making sure the knight cannot move. Okay, now he blundered this one. That's not very good news for him. Do we want to give a puzzle rush checkmate? Yeah, I think so. I could have taken with the bishop. Probably that was even better. But there's potential for something we can refer to as puzzle rush. So I'm going to go with that. Check. didn't really think this through, did I? I should have just taken with the bishop. Okay, let's take this one. How are we doing on material? Oh, we're a piece up in addition to having a massive attack. Feels like it should be possible to win. Let's give this check. And then this check. Then we defend this guy. Could be useful. And then we need to stop this threat. So let's just move the pawn. Okay, he gives a check, but there's no follow-up. He just goes back. And we're going to get the rook into play. Let's get the knight involved as well. So many pieces in the attack. The king completely open. About to get checkmated. Oof, free queen. Let's take that. And we win. You could have won his queen earlier. Well, what I did was good enough, Ifa. Who's gonna flag? Asks Destroyer. And I can provide the answer. The answer is Max. Max is gonna flag. Stevis and Face Chess up next. Hi to Brazil. Okay, interesting. Bishop out real early. Often when I play this opening, I really want to punish it. But sometimes that makes me too aggressive. And often this kind of opening, people have prepared trickeries against it. Let's just do this. You know what? Let's just exchange. I'm feeling in a very peaceful mood. You caught me at a lucky moment, Stevis. Patrick, you struggling to win a game? Do you practice your winning with a queen? Can you give the checkmate with a queen and with the rook? Where are we at? Are you playing two strong opponents? Sometimes you gotta, play some weaker opponents so that you can beat them and then move on to the stronger guys. Patrick gets the same advice from Hipside. Key to winning is playing against the lower rated opponents. But honestly, there's some truth to that. It's taking it to the next level. It's not really about doing well against people who's stronger than you. It's about being good at beating people who are slightly worse than you. If you want to move from, let's say, 2,000 to 2,200, you're not going to get there by making draws against international masters. You're going to get there by beating up on the 2100s. Face Chess gifting a sub to Kitty Kitty. He says, I mispronounced that. Thank you, Face Chess. Okay, so I played a pretty boring opening, but the position we got is fairly normal. We have a slight space advantage in the middle, but nothing much is really going on. And Stevis is having the correct strategy of just getting the rooks into the d-file. And I'm going to do the same. And maybe at some point I can move my stuff over to the king side. Face Chess also gifting a sub to me. Thank you. So black is super solid in these kinds of openings. It's very, very difficult to break down the black position. Which is why a lot of white players try to avoid this kind of thing. Because there's not really much advantage to speak of. And some would even argue that black's play is easier. Because black basically just, you know, get as many pieces pointing to this one as humanly possible. So I'm wondering whether or not I want to go with my pawn. Push it up the board. Yeah, it's really difficult to do anything here. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. What do you think about Maxime Vachier-Lagrave? Could he win the candidate tournament? Asks Cha-Cha Girl. Sure. I mean, I think there's so many good players. Anyone, the candidates tournament is so difficult that really anyone has a chance to win it. There's no clear favorite. And MVL is definitely one of those guys who could go all the way. Face Chess will be the last game, says T. That is quite the honor. Okay, a bit by accident, I suddenly realized that I can trap this rook. That was kind of an, yeah, that was not really my plan, but it worked out pretty well. Although rook d4 is a very interesting, yeah, rook d4 would have been a very good move. Then he would have decent compensation for the exchange. But now I'm just getting a rook for a bishop. It's still not very easy. Okay, I'm kind of afraid that he's going to put some pressure on my knight. So I'm moving it back. And I'm just going to stabilize my position and then try to make a breakthrough somehow. Okay, so black is still super solid. We need to do something. Okay, I'm gonna move back up, and I'm gonna try to place my knight here on e3 and go d5. I think that's our strategy. Because I need to open up the position for my rooks. When you have rooks, you need open files for them to operate. So right now, I need to exchange some pawns so that my rooks can show their strength. Knight here. Is he trying to take my pawn? Frankly, I think the answer is yes. Okay, that is a missed threat. I threatened the pawn, he didn't catch onto it, and now the whole position is collapsing. And I'm also getting my knight into some very scary territory. Possible smothered mate coming up. Smothered mate rejected. Feels bad, man. Let's take this queen. And we're gonna swoop in and get all the guys. And 3 queens. That is what we needed to take down this man. Nice win, you were never in trouble, Chess.com informs me. Okay, face chess up next. We're switching to the king's pawn. We've played a lot of d4 openings. This time I am the one to demonstrate the Ruy Lopez, the oldest opening in chess. Ooh, and face chess plays a very aggressive form of this. You're actually supposed to play bishop e7 before you play b5. Because now I think I have some extra options of d4. I don't really remember the reason, but I think that you're supposed to go with the bishop first. I don't care though. I'll just play the normal main line. Bishop g4. This is actually pretty instructive. This is a mistake. You should not play bishop g4 until your opponent has put his pawn in the middle. Is my opinion. Because now I'm going to get the bishops without you getting the pressure in the center for it. So right now, I'm just going to be happy to have the bishops. And I'm just going to play my knight over here to f5. And it's going to be really annoying for you. I'm crazy. Carry on, says T. Yes. Let's do that. Let's not mention at all how you tried giving away one of my bishops. Okay, interesting, because now I have, normally you need to go h6 before you go bishop here. So I'm going to take this opportunity to go bishop g5. And he's going to have to go back with his bishop unless he wants to give himself a terrible pawn structure. And I'm going to say he probably doesn't want to give himself a terrible pawn structure. And did I win something as a result of this? I mean, it gives me the option of capturing and then putting my knight in the middle, which looks really nice for me. But I can probably do that at any time. We're not going to stress about it. So now he's going to move the knight. Ooh, he actually plays h6. That surprises me. Yeah, I'm actually gonna I'm gonna do this time. Yeah, we're gonna go for this, and then we're gonna get the bishop back pointing towards the black king, And we also have this amazing square on d5. Here we have the bishop pointing towards the king. And we also have this square on d5, which is very tasty for the knight. I do have respect for my bishops, Halvard, but sometimes the advantage of having bishops is that you can choose when to exchange them. So that's one of the most under-communicated things about the bishop pair. One of the biggest advantages of having the bishop pair is that you own so much more of the decision whether or not you want to make an exchange. So now queen d7, a4 is going to be interesting. Okay, rook c8. I wasn't actually expecting that move, but it's a good one. It's actually a very good one. Can I still play this move? I could, but it's not optimal. Maybe. Yeah, maybe I misplayed this a little. I felt like I had a big advantage, and now I'm not sure. Maybe I should just take the knight, actually. There's no need to make it complicated. Just take it and put the knight on d5. Standard knight better than bishop situation. Yeah, you know what? That's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna get this beast up here. So I had 2 bishops, and in the last 4 moves, I have given away both bishops. But I'm gonna sit with a magnificent knight on d5, while his bishop isn't that great. And now I'm also gonna get this a4 move, which is really powerful. Or maybe I want to go this move. No. We're going to do this, and he's going to have to sacrifice the exchange, I think. Actually, yeah, maybe that wasn't very good. No, it's fine. I have a plan. So it takes here. If I take here, then he can take with the rook. So he gives up his rook, but he gets my knight. And it's probably good for me, but it's not entirely clear. I want to find something even better. So my plan now is that when he takes here, I'm just going to take back. And I'm going to get my rook involved along the 7th rank. And that's going to cause a lot of trouble to the black king, even if we remove all the pawns on one side of the board. This move I was not anticipating at all, because now I can just play b5, attack his rook, and he's just getting squashed on every side of the board. But maybe I want to play my other plan instead. Nah. This is very bad. Yeah, let's do that. Now we're going to get the rooks combining against this pawn. There's not a lot black can do. Black has a terrible bishop, says Pyrox. Yeah, but that's kind of the triumph of our strategic play, that we managed to maneuver the knight up here. We managed to get, I have been very particular about which pieces I have exchanged off, and that is what has landed me in this very good situation. And now this pawn is being protected by the queen, but I'm going to go b6, and then we're going to break up that protection, and that's going to enable us to take it next move. He needs to organize some counterplay, so he needs to go on this side, but there's not much he can do. And now the rook is coming to a7, and it's very bad news. Okay, we get the win. One player kept up the pressure, says Chess.com. And it's a very nice final position. The rook pointing, the queen, the knight protecting in all kinds of directions. Good game, Face Chess. Beautiful chess, says Love Stack. Thank you. Mozart-like is the description of this game from Max. Very harmonious ending, great session, thanks, says Bloby. Well, thank you everyone for watching. I want to give a final shout out to, well, myself, because that's how we roll. I'll be streaming on Monday, and I'll be streaming on Wednesday and Thursday, and yeah, lots of upcoming streams. Check out my channel at GMJLH. This was it for today, for this sub Saturday. Keep in mind that there is Pro Chess League coming up. There is sub Saturday. The next up is Danny Wrench for next Saturday. So a lot of good content on the chess channel. Thank you everyone for watching, and I hope you have a nice evening.